What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Screencast for the week of whatever week this is in hell. The moon was red yesterday, and our president has COVID. Woo! Let's get it going, Tim. How you feeling today?
What a Friday morning, Nick Scarpino. What the fuck is going on in the world? I'm excited to talk about some boys, maybe some Cobra Kai.
We're going to talk about some news stuff this week for sure. Of course, joining us on the show today as well is the master of disaster, clicking heads, ripping them to shreds, making corned beef and some breakfast sandwiches, Mr. Andy Cortez.
Yeah, that's me, guys. Yesterday the boys, very, very shocking. So far, 2020, just as shocking, right? Like twists and turns. We're talking about crazy plot twists, man.
What a great time to have it be October. You know, I'm into it. Let's lean into the spookiness and the terror that's happening in the world today. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is Screencast, where we traditionally talk about news, and we will be talking about a lot of news today. Last week I know was a little bit weird because, let's be honest, when Vin Diesel drops a song, Tim,
the world
needs to stop.
I want that. Where's that energy this week? You know, I
don't know. But I mean, the man,
Vin just trying to bring some goodness into the world.
The man can only do a song of that caliber once a month. Okay, you can't be turning out that kind of level of work and not expect it to take a toll on you. Look at Andy, for Christ's sake. He streamed Halo all day yesterday. He's barely said a word on this podcast.
Halo? No, I was playing Mario 35, which is very good.
Who was on the Halo stream yesterday?
Oh, that Halo. Oh, Greg was playing it. Sorry.
All I know is I tuned in, and Tim and Greg were on a warthog, and Andy was just running behind them.
No, it was just Greg.
The opposite?
No, I wasn't playing. I'm just talking along. But yes, it was a very stressful stream because at any point, what I thought was going to happen is the infamous story that Greg tells when he had trouble with OBS and then he broke down and started crying and then Kevin came to help. I thought that was going to happen yesterday where he was just going to break down and start crying.
Greg Miller was moments away from tears, Andy. I'm right there with you. And I had fear where I was
Me too.
If we lose this one more time, Greg is going to hurt someone.
Tim, I was trying to laugh it off, but I was so scared. I was trying to this is crazy, but I was really worried about our well-being.
I think that if Greg Miller, for him, it is cathartic to cry. So let him cry. Let him cry if he wants to cry, ladies and gentlemen. But you know who doesn't cry, Tim? Our amazing Patreon producers, Mohammed, and Al, the Predator Tribesman. They are our oaks. They are our solid-based foundations. We love you very much. Of course, everyone, if you want to get your name read by me on this list, go over to patreon.com/kindafunny and back us at that Patreon producers tier, and we'll make a funny little name for you.
We will create fan fiction and add you to the overall cinematic universe. You will be joining in phase 3.
You will. Yes. You're joining a pantheon of Patreon producers, not the least of which is Momo Squared and Al the Predator Tribesman. And I know that it pisses Andy off every time I say Momo Squared because Momo by itself is Momo Squared.
I mean, Nick, a lot of things you do piss me off, and I'm used to it at this point.
Still here.
I'm fighting my battles, you know.
You know who's not here right now though is Kevin Coelho. I just want to bring attention to the fact he's not here because his wife Paula Coelho, which is still weird. Paula Gallagher in my mind, but Paula Coelho to the world just got her wisdom teeth taken out. She was very scared about that process. So go send some sweet, nasty love to Paula Coelho, which
send her some.
Remember her thing.
Paula Draws 94 or something like that.
24, I think.
If I were here, it would be Paula Bills, y'all.
Paula Draws 24. Yeah.
Do you all have your wisdom teeth?
No, I had mine taken out. I tell the story one time on the podcast of how I thought I was tough. I got my wisdom teeth taken out. And the doctor was like, go home, go to the pharmacy, get the Vicodin that I've prescribed for you. Immediately take one. Do not wait. In the car, take the fucking Vicodin. And I was like, I feel great because I was still flying high from whatever the hell they gave me. And I got home. My mom's like, do you want a pain pill? I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't know what this guy's talking about. 1 hour later, I was 16 years old, crying in my mother's arms. I was in so much pain. I was like, put it wherever you can, shove a pain pill in me, whatever holds the least tight, stick it up there because
they're just like, Nick, we don't need to do that. Like, Nick, just open your mouth.
Like, go. No.
I'll never forget. I got mine out during Christmas vacation. My cousin Davey was visiting from Arkansas, and you got to do in Christmas vacation that way. You know, it's less of a hassle, Barrett. You got to you can be away from the people.
Yeah, exactly. You can rest in bed all week and be really high, and it's not a problem.
Yeah. And I was playing Spider-Man on PS2, a lot of fun. And I was also playing GTA Vice City on PS2. So it was a great Christmas vacation, but here's the problem that I had. I went from eating a slice of pizza pretty much every day because they would sell a little pizza by the slice at school. I went from pizza every day to a Christmas vacation where I was 2.5 weeks without pizza. And then I got my wisdom teeth out. And then my brother brought home like the best looking Peter Piper pizza for all the family. And I could not eat the Peter Piper pizza, the pizza that people pick. I couldn't eat it, dude. Wisdom teeth. And then I was talking too much. I was chattering. I was chit-chattering. I was yapping my gums way too much during Christmas break. And I got infected. Infected.
Yeah.
I had to go back and they had to clean out the infection.
You get what you deserve, Andy. That's what they say in this world. You know what else you deserve, ladies and gentlemen? Awesome merchandise. Go over to kindafunny.com/store, where I think the exclusive anime shirt that we did a while back is gone now because y'all slept on it. But we got more.
It was an RTX exclusive, Nick, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm being told. And so now it's all gone. If you didn't get it.
The Funhouse Kind of Funny anime shirt still exists.
The better one of the two, I say.
And if you don't like Funhouse, you could pretend the Funhouse girl is just like a friend, like just another random friend.
That's how I like to pretend, Danny. Absolutely. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Screencast is brought to you by Honey and Bespoke Post, but we're going to get to those a little bit later. For now, here, everyone, we got some feedback last week. Everyone was like, hey, what happened to the news? We're still going to talk about news on this show as we review The Boys, this, episode 7 today, episode 8, the season finale next week. But there's so much good news. We got to go into it. Tim, roll the news graphic. There it is. Top on the news stories, ladies and gentlemen. And this one was one that I was like, no, this is going to get debunked. But I talked to Tim, and Tim is my verifiable source because he always tells me whether or not the Reddit kids understand if this is debunked or not. Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro for the next crossover of Sony/Marvel Spider-Man movies. This is a true thing that's happening.
To be clear here, not the crossover movies, the MCU Spider-Man.
The MCU, Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming,
the third sequel
installment in that,
that will have home in the title. That was confirmed by Amy Pascal yesterday.
That's important. That's important.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what that's going to be.
Home away from home.
Home sweet home.
Sick.
My homies.
Sweet home Alabama.
Rolling with the homies.
Yes. Spider-Man rolling with the homies.
That would be the shit. Jamie Foxx, of course, who played the Electro in the Andrew Garfield starred amazing Spider-Man 2 is finally in talks to reprise the role. I actually I saw this and I saw some hate going Jamie Foxx's way, and I was like, I get that people didn't like that movie or they didn't like his specific portrayal of that, but I feel like with a different director, and if I'm not mistaken, Tim, I think the director of the third movie is the one who's directed the first two.
John Watts, yes.
Yeah, I feel like Jamie Foxx is a great actor who could really bring something to the role.
I mean, I totally agree, and I know a lot of people don't like Amazing Spider-Man 2, and like you just said, it's like even his portrayal of Electro, it's not so much just that they didn't like. I don't think there's anyone that didn't like Jamie Foxx as Electro. It was more just what he was given to do. The bigger question I have, and this is a big one, is there's a lot of assumptions being made about Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro. Is it going to be a J. Jonah Jameson type situation where it's the actor coming back but playing a different version of the same character? Or is this Amazing Spider-Man 2's Electro in Spider-Man 3 via some multiverse shenanigans?
There's a great tweet. There's a great tweet by one Funky Louis Medina at Kino Wolf, who doesn't like any publicity. He doesn't like being talked about, but he's our friend and we love him very much. Louis is very, very entrenched in the MCU and comics and the world, and he has a very good grasp on a lot of the knowledge. And with all of the rumors of WandaVision and Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, whatever the fuck they're calling it, what do they call it? The Multiverse of Madness?
The Multiverse of Madness, yeah.
Got it. Louis Medina tweets, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If WandaVision, Doctor Strange 2, and Spider-Man 3 are all about multiverse stuff, the concept is going to overstay its welcome very fast. And I kind of agree. agree.
Here's the thing. I get why you would agree with that, but you also need to remember, if that's just 3 movies of 20... it's not going to be that bad. I actually like if they are setting up something that's going to be followed up in different movies where there's actual consequences from the movie before it, even if it's not in a direct sequel lineage, because that's what the MCU does best, right? And it's like, yes, hearing about these 3 sounds like a lot, but you need to remember those 3 in between that, there's going to be 7 other projects.
I guess we also are sort of assuming a lot here, right? Because who even knows if this is even part of some sort of multiverse, but Yeah, I'm with you guys when it comes to Jamie Foxx. I love him as an actor. I think he's fantastic. I don't think that role was super great for him. I hope it may be different direction this time. I'm glad he's getting a second shot at it. Yeah. I love his screen presence. I think he's fucking awesome. I always think of when I think of Jamie Foxx as like a role that I love as this antagonist. I think of Baby Driver. Yeah, I think he's fantastic in that, and he's just always been one of these awesome actors that can kind of just be anybody and it's immediately believable, except for Electro and Spider-Man 2. Because you know what I think about when I think of Electro and Spider-Man 2? I think of that god awful Hans Zimmer song, dude.
Oh, the dubsteps.
They lied to me. They hated me. Remember that song where he's like chanting?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God,
yeah, it's great. Like, who can forget?
I hope they bring it back. I hope they bring it back, but in like the best way possible, where it just makes us all laugh about how bad that movie was.
Like, or maybe like he's listening to it on his iPhone or something.
Yeah,
it's so terrible. And then he's like, "Fuck, this song." Or
they're like listening to like a YouTube like rapper kid, and he's doing it. And they're like, oh,
how do you have that so close at hand all the time, Tim? How do you just have? It's right there.
Can you see number 11?
No,
it's a little blurry, but you can read it to us, and I trust
the Electro Suite.
Oh God, it's such a bad song, dude.
What?
That's one where like Hans Zimmer, you gotta like not experiment, just do what you know, bro.
But so what's interesting to me about the kind of coming up with the hypothesis of where these stories might be going, and like the idea that because Jeremy Conrad, who is like a Marvel fanatic and guy that like talks about this stuff a lot, he was tweeting, he's just like, I mean, imagine this, it is WandaVision setting up breaking the multiverse, then it's Spider-Man having to kind of deal with the multiverse issues, and then it's Doctor Strange having to come in and fix it all. And it's like,
that's interesting.
That kind of lines up in some cool storytelling that would make sense. The reason I don't fully believe that, and granted everything is changing because of COVID, but Spider-Man was supposed to originally come out before Doctor Strange, but because of Sam Raimi coming in to direct, and because of the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland, everything's getting kind of shifted around and moved. But it's interesting to look at MCU and like how these changes are happening, because we know that certain movies and shows are going to affect the chronological nature of some of these release dates. So I don't know, but either way, I'm totally trusting of them, and I believe they're going to make something super dope out of this. And it's just like Jamie Foxx is awesome. So
yeah.
If
you can't go
whether
wrong.
Yeah, and it's like putting the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Electro in the MCU. I think that's a taller order of
but
trying to like make that work, but I think they could do it.
The thing is this: I don't think it's that big of a problem, and I think the reason is the big issue I had with that character was his motivations were highly lacking, and that he just didn't give much to do. With this creative team that's doing the Spider-Man movies now, and Jamie Foxx's unbelievable talent, come on, it's a no-brainer. They're gonna utilize him. They had an amazing tool in their arsenal that they just didn't utilize for that second Spider-Man movie, and now that Jamie Foxx let him unleash him, he's gonna look cool. It'll be fine. However they decide to get him in there, it's going to be great.
And I mean, we are 10 years into this. We have been proven wrong over and over and over again. Anytime we've doubted the MCU, anytime we've doubted their choices, yeah, you've never been wrong. That's true. But I've certainly I think we've all sort of doubted sort of decisions when we read these news breaks and we say, really, they're doing that? That's going to be weird. And then it always works out because they know what the fuck they're doing and they have a vision. So I believe in it, man.
Speaking of that, ladies and gentlemen, more Marvel casting news. This comes from Deadline.com. After a long and hard search, Marvel has found its Miss Marvel. The studio has tapped a newcomer, Iman Vellani, to star in the Disney Plus series based on the comic book character. Marvel and the streamer recently named Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falal, a couple more people, as directors on the project. So they have like 4 directors on the project. Tim, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm super stoked about it. Like, there's been a lot of rumors going around about the casting for the Hawkeye show and for Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. And I was surprised that She-Hulk was the first one to get official casting a couple weeks back. But with that, we knew that meant that coming soon was Miss Marvel based on the planned production schedule for the shows. I'm just stoked that they went with somebody that is a total up-and-comer, someone brand new, and that is very young. Miss Marvel needs to be very young and somebody that is going to be potentially in the MCU for the next 20 years. It's like she will be the youngest person that of a major role than Peter Parker thus far, Like we've gotten little characters that are younger, like the little girl from Ant-Man could potentially go somewhere one day, and all that. But like Miss Marvel being she's gonna big kid. But like she's gonna be a starring character. I mean, like look at the Avengers video game. It's like she is the star of that game. Like Marvel's looking at Miss Marvel as a star character, as the future leader of the different groups. And I think that getting her in young is going to be really, really beneficial to them, especially, kind of nailing all of the like nationality side of all of this.
Yeah, it's huge for representation. I have a tweet here from Timur Hussein that I think is super cool and important. He tweets out, still thinking about the Ms. Marvel casting, daughter of Pakistani immigrants, someone able to represent Muslim background with authenticity, a complete unknown poised to change the lives of countless South Asian girls. Unreal. That's so great, dude. Like to see somebody this young break into a role this gigantic. Again, when I first read the news, my first thought was, oh, this is for the new cartoon, maybe. This is for the new whatever. I didn't really see and read the full article that it was the actual live action thing. And that made me so much more happy because I feel like we'll hear these, we'll hear awesome news about, people from marginalized backgrounds or just people of color getting roles in cartoon voices. And that's always cool and stuff. But when it's live action and when it's a Marvel property and when it's going to be on screen in front of that many people, in front of an audience where she will be sharing the screen with Tom Holland, with the Guardians of the Galaxy, like all sorts of shit like that. I think it's just so much more important. And it's really fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that is indeed. Tim, you slacked us a picture here of what she could potentially look like in the costume, and that's awesome.
Barrett, I don't know if you have the capabilities to bring that up, but that'd be pretty dope. Boss Logic,
yeah, of course, Boss Logic.
Yeah, Boss Logic did an amazing mock-up of what she might look like as Captain Marvel, and it's really sick. But all of the Disney, there we go. All the Disney Plus shows, it's cool to see them kind of like take fruition. And I love that here we have Miss Marvel with this new up-and-comer. Will there be cameos from Captain Marvel in it? Like, will we get Brie Larson and that stuff? Like, that could be cool. But I love that something like this can be aside Falcon and Winter Soldier, that it's like, oh, no, the stars from the movies are in this show. And same thing with WandaVision. Like, it's just what a crazy future we have ahead of us with all of this stuff. And I just hope that they continue to knock it out of the park as much as they have so far.
I had a mistake. I kept saying like movies or whatever, but just like the fact that it's a live action Marvel.
Yeah, live action. Yeah.
But they've already said she will be in the movies.
Okay.
That's cool as ice.
Yeah.
What a great career move for her. She's like, I am set for 25 years.
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. wrote this fucking thing from like 2004 on, man. We are good. Good for her. Glad you love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. You know what else you love to see, Tim? The Karate Kid.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
That's what you love to see. And I can't tell you how fucking excited I am that you're on the Karate Kid hype train with me and Josh McCouga. Andy, get on the right side of the law right now, my friend.
Here's the thing, Nick. I haven't talked about this on the show yet, but all my friends have started watching Cobra Kai because originally it came out on YouTube Originals. Yeah. And so that's kind of limiting its audience, right? But then Netflix transferred it over to them and like signed a deal to like continue the show. And just today we found out that it is coming out. Do we have the details here? January 8th, 2021.
With for season 3.
Season 3. Season 1 and 2 are already there.
And they've greenlit a 4th season, which speaks very, very highly for a Netflix show. Because generally, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but they usually cancel shit after the 3rd season. So I think this. I don't have the inside track on this, but I think from what I've heard, Netflix thinks this is the greatest show ever made.
So it is something like that. I'm blanking on the name of the show right now, but I saw Eric Goldman earlier tweeting about this. He's like, yeah, Netflix usually has the 3-season rule, but they've been trying something different with a couple different shows. Lucifer was the one where they found a lot of success of picking up a show that wasn't really working out somewhere else. It gained success from just the library content, and then they commit to more seasons from there. So we're kind of seeing that here.
It's a smart business model because you're picking it up at a lower cost. You don't have to front all that cost of the development for it, and you don't have to worry about it. They probably pick it up for a steal because what's the alternative? They're going to cancel the show. They pick it up, they put it on here. For Cobra Kai, though, and I think this will be the surprising aspect for you, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on watching that as a quote-unquote Netflix show, because I watched it as a YouTube property, and I think that really worked wonders for the show itself, for setting my expectation, which was like below the basement as far as what I expected. And when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, this show actually is very, very good. It's just a little bit on this side of good production value that I'm like, I can buy all this stuff. And of course, I think Netflix has put a little bit more money into it now. But we're going to be tracking this with you, because once you're done with the Karate Kid movies, I want a report on that, a full book report on Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, and the new Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. And then I want the next Karate Kid, sorry, not the new Karate Kid.
Yeah. Show some respect, Nick.
My apologies.
Hillary's the swank, okay?
I love him telling Nick to show some respect.
Well, no, and I always, so here's the thing. I'm watching all these movies for essentially the first time. Me and G are committed. We're going in. We're going to watch them all, and then Cobra Kai season 1 and 2, leading up to season 3. But I've seen bits and pieces of Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, and obviously there's so many pop culture moments that I'm just like, I obviously know this shit, right? So far in my watch log, I've only seen Karate Kid 1, and I'm so fucking in. But growing up, the next Karate Kid played on repeat on Disney Channel. So I'm very familiar with that one. So that's what I'm saying. Show some respect. That is amazing.
I want to call attention. This is one spoiler for you, if I may, Tim. I just want to give it's a hype spoiler. It's a hype spoiler.
I plan on watching it, dude. So please.
It's a quick little. It'll get you going, Andy. If you're on the cusp of it, this will rock you over to the right side of the wall.
Okay, good to know. Continue.
One of the songs, of course, from the original Karate Kid that was a banger was Bananarama's "Cruel Summer."
Cruel Summer. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
And of course, that's been redone a couple times. But there is a moment in season 2 of Cobra Kai where they do that song again, and it is the fucking slapping.
I just got chills. I want to keep going right now. Why are we doing the show? I just want to watch some fucking Karate Kid,
because we got to talk about something else that's great, which is The Boys, which is amazing. Of course, we're going to do that, though, right after this break, where we talk about our amazing sponsors. The first of which, Tim, is Honey. Let me tell you guys, these days, it feels like online shopping is the only way to go, and it's the only thing that we really do. That's where today's sponsor, Honey, comes in. It's the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and automatically tests them when you're checking out. We've used Honey a bunch of times. Tim uses it in his private life. Kevin uses it in both his private life and his professional life as our production coordinator and technical ops manager here. He has saved this company hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, which I personally like because I like money and I like saving money and I like getting cool stuff. That's where Honey.
You should be using Honey too, man. If you're not, you're messing up. It's free. It's one click. You install it once, and then it's true. Saving money forever. Anytime you're buying anything on any online store, whether it's Etsy or Best Buy. Come on.
Here's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. You get Honey on your computer for free, like Tim said, just 2 easy clicks. Then when you're checking out on one of its over 30,000 supporting sites, Honey pops up, and all you have to do is click apply coupons or coupons, depending on what area you're from. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for the coupon for that site. If Honey finds working codes, it'll apply the best one to your cart. Honey has found its over 17 million members, over 2 billion in savings. Honey supports all kinds of retailers, from tech and gaming sites to fashion brands and even food delivery. It's simple. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. It's free and works wherever your browser, whatever browser you use. You can get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/morning. That's joinhoney.com/morning, so they know that we sent you. Thanks, Honey, for supporting this episode. Next up, we got Bespoke Post. This fall, as you get back into the swing of things, Bespoke Post has brand new seasonal Box of Awesome collections for you guys, guaranteed to upgrade your life. Whether it's gear to upgrade your autumn craft beers or cozy threads for when the temperature dips, Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month. No matter what you're into, a Box of Awesome has you covered, from style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, and outdoor gear. Box of Awesome has collections for every part of your life. Tim, we've actually been using it. We've had a lot of Box of Awesome stuff come through. I think Kevin got some Hue lights, you got some shoes or something, and then
Blessing,
I think Joey got
it's cool. Blessing got shoes. Kevin got some Hue lights. Joey got some Hue lights too. But it's just great. You just go to the site and you can do a quiz, and it decides like what you're looking for, what the things you might like, and they just kind of curate little boxes for you. Whether like they do a nice little like bar keep kit. Mm-hmm. Like there's just cool stuff. Go check it out. Box of Awesome.
Definitely fun stuff.
I'm gonna look
Andy, here's you go. You go get started. Go take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick that Box of Awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories. It's free to sign up, and you can skip a month or cancel anytime. Each box costs only $45 and has over $70 worth of gear inside. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code morning at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code morning for 20% off your first box. Get over there. It's fun. They got some cool stuff, man. They got a lot of like tools and stuff that I want. Tim, I'm buying them all. I'm getting them all. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the news right now. There's a few other stories, but they're not as important as those first few that we did. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Bill and Ted's, but since neither of you watched it, we'll just move on. Now it's time for the boys.
I watched Bill and Ted.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I mean, it's exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah, there's some numbers that came out on it. I just think it's interesting as one of the other movies that has come out that went straight to VOD. Apparently, it made $32 million on it's not VOD, sorry, PVOD, purchase video produced and on demand.
Premium.
Just thought it was cool. What's that? Premium. Thank you. Video on demand. 32 million, and it made 3.3 million in the theatrical run. And they're saying it might actually. A couple people who have analyzed this over on the Reddit are saying that it might actually make a profit, which is fascinating. A, because the movie is what it is, and B, because it's actually be in the theatrical run. So we'll continue to monitor that. I'm interested to see how all of these movies do once they go to premium video on demand. And then, of course, there was a Gentleman TV show that I'm sure me and Kevin will get tweeted out because we're just getting bombarded. We love The Gentleman. If you guys haven't watched that movie, it's great. They're making a TV show out of it. If you haven't heard that, that's very, very cool news.
The Gentleman, what is that?
That's the Matthew McConaughey Guy Ritchie movie, and Matthew McConaughey is reprising the role, so that's going to be really, really cool. Right. And then, of course, last news story for today that I do want to quickly go over is Robert Zemeckis has remade The Witches, and we don't need it. This movie terrified me as a child.
Yes,
it was supposed to come out in theaters. It's going straight to HBO Max. I'm going to call my local HBO provider and ask them to not display it for me because it's terrifying.
Did you all what's the Halloween movie with the three witches?
Hocus Pocus.
Did you all, like, when you were a kid, did you want the blonde witch to like put spells on you and do stuff?
You're talking about Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yeah.
Because
like as a kid, I had a crush on the blonde witch. Yeah, not Sarah Jessica Parker, just the blonde witch.
Oh, just the blonde witch. You know what I mean? I had a crush on Carrie from Sex and the City for a hot minute up until about a week ago.
Oh,
but what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Oh man, hold on. There's one more news story that I do want to go over.
Yeah, because this is really sad.
You have to.
Yeah.
Somebody fucking punched Rick Moranis. Somebody attacked Rick Moranis on the street of New York City. The 67-year-old went to the hospital with pain in his head, back, and hip. Rick Moranis was this is over on the Hollywood Reporter, randomly attacked in New York City on Thursday. The beloved actor, who recently made headlines after showing up in a Mint Mobile ad, was punched in the face by an unknown suspect, police told the Hollywood Reporter. The attack occurred in broad daylight just before 7:30 a.m. on Central Park West near 70th Street. He went to the hospital with pain in his head, hip, and back before going to a station to report the crime, police told the Hollywood Reporter. Here's what I want to ask everyone.
Martial law. We are declaring martial law.
Here's what
I don't know what that means.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Andy, you're spot on. I know we have a lot of best friends on the East Coast. Okay. Sure. And I respect you all. And I thank you so much for all of your support you've shown us. And I love the fact that you guys watch our shows. But you have fundamentally failed humanity today. You understand that? You have let a national treasure.
Damn it, Nick.
You have let a national treasure, Rick Moranis, get attacked on your streets. This was on your watch. If this shit happened in San Francisco, Greg Miller have to carry a cross from the Sunset all the way to the Bay.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much.
Thorn of crowns on his head. Rick Moranis, treasure, left the start. Had some personal stuff happen. Had to leave. He's coming back, and this is what he gets. And the best friends on the East Coast, you guys didn't help him. I want you to form a squadron of protectors around Rick Moranis anywhere he goes, whether he likes it or not. Get out there, protect this man.
Yeah,
he's one of the original Ghostbusters-ish.
Nick, I want you to understand. I want you to know that you started talking, and I was horrified by what you're saying. Where I was just like, "Is Nick about to try to galvanize a group?"
I was with
our
Nick the whole
audience to go fight someone because let's not do this. But no. Before that, you just turn on them. You blame them for this attack. I don't know which of those is worse. I don't know which I'd prefer less.
What is our favorite movie with Rick Moranis in it?
Just Honey, we Shrunk Ourselves. Okay,
that's a good. Yes, underrated.
I just watched Rick Moranis in one of my favorites of his, My Blue Heaven, which is him and Joan Cusack and Steve Martin. It's a great, silly, fun. Just if you need a fun little goof laugh, watch it this weekend.
Taking Back Sunday song. I think we do. I'm with you all the way, Nick. Like I know Tim's kind of attacking you for your views, but I'm I'm totally with you. I think first off, it is the East Coast best friend's fault. So all of you hold yourself accountable, punish yourselves, right? No more, turn off this video. You're not allowed to listen to the rest of this video. You're not allowed to be a part of this community until you go enact revenge.
Too far. Yeah. Too far, Andy.
I'll say
I'm in a goddamn idiot sandwich right now.
The least coast. The least coast,
the
right?
least coast, exactly. Andy.
Also, shout out to Spaceballs. Spaceballs, probably.
Spaceballs is my favorite.
Spaceballs might be the best movie McManus is in.
Also, shout out to Yusuf HD in the chat who said, "Honey, we blew up the dude who punched him."
Hell yeah!
Thank you.
There you go. Poor McManus. Obviously, we hope he gets better.
He's totally fine. He tweeted, they tweeted out that he is totally fine. He's just a little kind of. He was like, "I'm totally good. Everybody chill out." But Rick Moranis, we're not chilling out.
We're not chilling out, Rick Moranis. We're on watch now. We're on watch. As we're if I don't see at least 400 Kind of Funny best friends in Kind of Funny shirts, scratch that. In shirts for any of our competitors, roaming the streets of New York. Put on a Rooster Teeth shirt. And get down, just monitor the streets, guys.
I need people in Critical Role shirts. I need people.
Put your IGN shirt on. Get out there.
I need Rhett and Link shirt people out there. PD Popoff in chat says, "You're right, Andy. Log enough to find the bastard that did this." Thank you, PD Popoff. Thank you.
Oh man.
All right, guys. Are you guys ready to talk about The Boys?
Episode 7? Man. Everybody, if you have not watched episode 7 of The Boys yet, turn this off right now. We're giving you ample time to switch it off to something else because we are going to go full spoiler into this bad boy.
I had to watch so much of The Boys yesterday because I realized yesterday morning I was like, oh shit, I'm directing Screencast tomorrow. I'm going to get spoiled. So I had to watch so much of The Boys.
You got caught up. Good. You got caught up.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
You're lucky though, because I think that I mean, again, the criticism
you should be thanking us right now,
rolling out week to week. But man, if I could watching all of these back to back to back, especially this season, would be awesome.
Yeah, I think one episode per week is definitely hurting it, and hurting my.
Oh no way!
Oh, absolutely.
No way!
You're like
it's so good, man.
No way.
I love it. It's so there's so much content every week where it's like you can actually sit with it a bit more and like take it all in. I'm loving this, man. The beginning of this episode with the whole clerk getting shot, like the build up and all of that, like. I'm so happy that was just like my introduction into the world for this week. Whereas if I was just binging it, it's just kind of like going through the motions of crazy thing happening after crazy thing. That was such a powerful fucking moment, especially with where the world's at right now. This show is so special because it feels like South Park in the sense of it's addressing things that I'm like, how are they doing this? Because this seems like it's happening right now in the real world.
Yeah.
Especially just really quick. Was that last night's episode? Whatever scene with the crazy head stuff happening. It's crazy that
that was last night's episode.
It's crazy that episode went out last night with all these political people, all these people in this press conference being blown up, and then the same night, all of these people who are big political people also getting tested for COVID positive. Yeah. And it was just so weird that was happening the same weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that speaks to the strength of the show, right? They're really in touch with the cultural zeitgeist right now. Even, I mean, the stuff that I feel like is really startling in this specific episode, and we're in full-blown spoiler territory here, ladies and gentlemen. So like Andy said, if you don't want to get this spoiled, turn it off, put your IGN shirt on, go parole through the streets of downtown Manhattan and just look for Rick Moranis and just tell him we said what's up. All the stuff with Homelander and Stormfront, with all the propaganda that they put out, the thoughts and what. There's a moment where Homelander just goes, "Yep, thoughts and prayers." And it's so
little and casual
up, yeah, and belittling and just so dismissive. And they're so perfectly set up as these characters that you have to hate. But also by the end of this, you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? Because the last scene of this show is bananas. But before we get to that, we can go one by one here. Their campaign I thought was insane. And then of course we get some backstory with Butcher and his father. For me, a lot of the themes of this were interesting. Because there's the fear of immigration, which is a theme, and then there's also like family was a big one in this one, right? We see multiple times how like fathers and sons, fathers and daughters, mothers and daughters, all of that stuff plays into this, which I thought was pretty cool. But
the Butcher storylines kind of lost me for a second, and that's probably because I was also doing a Twitch watch party last night, so I sometimes will glance at chat and then I'll kind of forget what, like, it's hard for me to like focus on both things or whatever. But I don't know if that was just a product of me reading chat sometimes or just a product of what's exactly happening here with Butcher and his dad, and what's also he's talking to Vogelbaum about what exactly. Like, that's sort of those little threads were kind of getting lost on me.
So I agree, but I think the thread of Butcher being like his having first off, shout out to John Noble. I like that they have that conversation where he's like, I made you tough. And then he's like, fuck you. You're, he calls him a cunt about 500 times, which just Carl Urban using the word cunt is just everything. And then, but we see what he has been made by his father, and he's able to then go and threaten Vogelbaum convincingly because he has been made into this like wrecking ball of a monster, and he actually gets the job done, which I always think, I thought that was so interesting because you're like, on the one hand, you're like, yeah, good for you, Butcher. Get this guy to go tell the truth. But on the other hand, he did it by pretty much tapping into that dark part of his soul caused by his father and threatening to kill. Like that moment where he's like, I'm going to go into that next room and I'm going to bash your brains out. And then I'm going to find your sons and their wives and their little kitties, and I'm going to beat them to death too, unless you do this. And he just stares at him. And then he drinks the tea.
And it was so honest. It was such an honest and real moment for him where I believed every word he was saying.
Yeah. That seemed to be in like the whole the plot of Butcher in a lot of ways, like reminds me of my issue with this show throughout, which is kind of like they introduce things that I feel like that I'm supposed to remember that I don't know. Where it's like, oh, the dad's being brought up now. Like I don't remember anything about the dad, and like we had just met the aunts, so to now meet the mom, it just felt like a lot. But it's the beauty of this show is anytime I feel that way within a couple episodes, I'm like, oh, all of that was worth it. Like there's so much great character development, and like the back and forth between Butcher and his dad was so good. The one thing with the Butcher storyline that I thought was weird was how they set it up with the idea of the Frenchman kind of leaving his post and causing the whole issue with Lamplighter and all that stuff, and like then bringing that back. And Butcher kind of leaving his post and then nothing actually happening from that.
Interesting.
You get what I'm saying? Like it was weird for them to like set it up in the exact same way and have Butcher be so mad about it, and then for him to get a call from his mom and him be like, fuck, I gotta go. It's like,
well, but there was a consequence.
Right.
Remember?
Exactly.
The consequence was that Lamplighter went AWOL and then burned himself alive, and the one and only witness is charred, and he goes, and then he calls in and says, I got this, I got you covered, don't worry, I'll take care of this.
But Butcher wouldn't have been with Lamplighter though. That wouldn't have solved it. Butcher would have been with Mother's Milk.
Well, like Huey was calling Butcher because when they were planning to break out Starlight, his first go-to was to call Butcher's, but because Butcher wasn't picking up, he decided to go with
he was just supposed to watch porn.
I know.
He was just supposed to stay home and watch a fantastic porn parody. It was so goddamn good, man.
Even that in and of itself is eerie as shit too.
Yeah. Tim, you speaking about threads that come back and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Can we talk about how fantastic the Almond Joy moment
is? My
mean,
God, they fucking did it.
The idea that 2 episodes ago Black Noir is looking and trying to find Butcher and asking the intern girl on the computer, we need to find Butcher, pointing at the photo, I want to find him. And she's eating her Almond Joy and he just tells her to throw it in the fucking trash. And you're like, oh, that's just a whatever moment.
I didn't catch that. That's funny.
What a fucking great callback. And then the little EpiPen moment, kicking it away, being like, he has a tree nut allergy. It's so stupid in the best way possible that I little moments like that are what make this show really special for me, where I don't think that's an Oscar award winning writing moment or anything like that, but it's just so good and so funny that you still get that awesome payoff, and that's what I think makes this show so great.
Well, it's fun.
It reminds me of
the magic of the show is that fun and the darkest things you can fucking imagine can be in the same world, and it never comes across as like cringy, corny shit. It's always like I'm here with it, and it's because it's backed up by awesome character development across the board.
Yeah, Barrett, what were you gonna say?
That moment reminded me of the like the Guardians 2 thing, where the joke of like it's not ripe yet kind of thing, where they're like kind of setting up this Almond Joy thing, and then it just like has this like funny little payoff to it, and that's what it reminded me of.
I agree, and I think that obviously the payoff for that moment was and Tim nailed it, right? The strength of this is the character development. It's the Maeve storyline coming and having her have some level of,
dude, it hurts, man.
Yeah, it's. I mean, her storyline is very tragic, and we have her girlfriend leaving her in this, and her having to deal with that. But then, of course, she gets a little bit of a redemption arc here, coming and helping Starlight, And you're like, where's she gonna go next? We don't even know. She's like, I'm not going with you. I got to go my own way. Backing it up a little bit, and you want to talk about why the strength of the show to me can be summed up in really one scene. So Homelander decides to bring his new girlfriend home to introduce to his son, right? And there's a moment where you can feel his real mother losing control, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying to think that anyone could just walk into your house and, you know, have agency over your child. But there's a moment where they walk out, and she goes, I need to talk to you right now. They go outside, and she goes, what are you doing? You can't do this. Like, you of all people should understand what it's like to have a mother who cares and like shelters you and cares for you. And Homelander, in a very real moment, looks at her and goes, you don't understand what you're doing to him. They lied to me my entire life, and look how fucked up I am. He's going to be scared of the world. He's not going to understand anything, and he's going to hate you if you keep lying to him. And it's this very real, like, oh shit, I never, like, that's such good writing where you can take a character that's so like terrible, like Homelander,
Awful,
and humanize him for just a moment for me, of being like, oh, I'm the way I am because of what you're doing. Your best intentions might lead him to becoming me. And mind you, 50% of him is full of shit. It's just like a power move, but there's a little bit of truth to it, right? I thought that scene was so fascinating. And of course, then he came out the kid. Like,
I thought that scene. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought that scene was great. It really reminds me of just sort of when you start to sympathize with the villain. It reminds me of Killmonger and Black Panther, when you're just like, you know what, you're right. Like, you're killing aunties and shit. You're fucking, you know, like you're committing murder against people that don't deserve it a lot of the time. But right here in this moment, I totally agree with you, where it definitely is a power play. It is a power move. Like, a lot of it is just more, a lot of it is you being selfish, but you're making a point about, you know, this kid being lied to and it being the wrong thing. Now you're also going to have him being brought up in a house full of Nazism, which is
super Nazis,
which is even worse.
Yeah.
But like, you definitely, I certainly felt for Homelander in that moment. I thought that was a really good, interesting scene. And then just seeing the heartbreak from the real mom. What's her name?
I want to say it was Brienne, but I could be getting that wrong. That might be the actress.
Anyway, just her heart yelling out like, fuck, I can't believe
Rebecca,
this.
that's what it is. Thank
Rebecca, like, her yelling out, he's gone. I can't, like, my son is now gone. And what are the ramifications from that? What's going to happen with her? Where, like, this show continuously asks questions and makes you ask questions, and then eventually does answer them, which is why I've been really, really happy with it. So I'm really excited to see where those storylines end up.
Totally. And with that, something that's really cool is within the last, it might even have been the last episode, but the last 2 episodes for sure, we're introduced to a couple storylines that we still don't see the end of, like with the heads popping at the end. We know who's doing it. Like, we saw them at the end of the last episode, but it's like, where are they? Why?
No, do they?
How?
No. Is it though? So
yeah, exactly.
I thought it was, obviously, when we saw the head pop from the one homegirl in episode 2, or episode 3 or whatever.
One.
It was
we
one.
saw the CIA agent.
We see the head pop, and then obviously we go into Grove Shady. What's it called?
Shady
Whatever.
Grove.
We go into that.
We go into
that facility, and we see Cindy exploding a full body, and it's the full body compared to the actual head of the first lady that we saw.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then so immediately I think, oh, that's the same person exploding these people or whatever. And then we see her on the loose at the end. So you got to wonder, what's that storyline going to lead up to? But I don't see Cindy working for
Totally not. Yeah.
for these people. And the fact that it was so targeted, it was so chaotic. Like, the idea that it wasn't everybody's heads getting popped off. It was just all the people who needed their head to get popped off. That's why I don't think it's Cindy. And the idea is that it was just their heads, where Cindy was exploding full bodies.
And someone in the chat makes a good point of, like, they would have gone after Stormfront as well.
Yeah.
And
so. It's interesting. But another one that I want to bring up was like Maeve and Deep, where Maeve had that conversation with Deep of like, hey, you're going to need a woman like backing you up, when she went to the church to talk to him.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And like, did anything come from that yet?
No, it did not. So, well, no, it did. I'm sorry. You're gonna need a woman backing up. He gave her the camera stuff, and that was the kind of, we haven't seen anything come from that though yet, right?
No, she had like her whole thing is that she wants to take that to Homelander to leave her alone. If he
Right, she's gonna
doesn't,
blackmail
she'll
Homelander.
send it to CNN. And it's because of that video that the girlfriend has been kind of grappling with being with Maeve, and that's why she has kind of left.
That's why she bounced.
Yeah, and so
I'm totally with Zach. We were talking about this last night during the watch along, where we saw A-Train's replacement Shockwave get his head exploded too. So that's why I do think it is the Church of the Collective somehow behind it, because they keep telling A-Train, we're going to get you back in 7. We're going to get you back in. And then we see Shockwave's head get exploded along with a lot of other random people. But the idea that this could be A-Train's way back in, possibly being a mole, in the 7, I think is a really cool possibility.
Well, we're going to have to wait until next week when we talk about episode 8, the season finale of season 2 of The Boys, called What I Know. That's what it's called.
So
I do want to say Lamplighter's suicide was just like
that's fucking
such a dark moment that you got the feeling something was up. Again, I love those moments in movies and shows that I always bring up where, it's obvious something fucked up is about to happen. I always think of the Sept blown up in Game of Thrones, where there's this long lead up to it, and you think like things are too positive for something good to actually happen. And for him to see and go, they replaced my statue. Damn it, I wanted to do it in front of my statue. And you go, oh,
like,
no.
Oh no.
What is he talking about? And then he's like, I just wanted to make my dad proud, or whatever he said. Like, oh my God, it's such a heartbreaking moment for a character that we didn't really see that much of.
It's
but
great,
we know the pain that he was going through. It's really, really
another
damn good.
Beautiful moment of levity when after it's done and the water stops flowing. Huey looks at me, he's like, "Fuck you, man."
Yeah,
go fuck himself.
And I gotta get the hand, which just then becomes like a disgusting, another disgusting moment of the boys saying like, "Hey, we're gross too. We're not just we're also going to make you laugh with sort of disgust and being like, oh, come on, dude. I don't want to see bones and fucking fibers and shit. It's so terrible."
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you had some fun thoughts about The Boys episode 7, season 2, episode 7, which you have shared with us on Patreon. Remember, if you guys want to be a part of this show, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, back us at the $5 or above tier, and let us know what you're thinking about all the stuff we're talking about. Do you think we've, as a society, fundamentally failed Rick Moranis? Let us know over on Patreon, or tweet at Greg and say, get your shit together. Let's see. Tenza says, wow, I can't believe how terrifying that episode was, from Homelander introducing Stormfront to his son, to the appearance of the Nitro rifle showing up at the end, clicking heads and ripping them to shreds. I think they did a great job of building up hope at the end and then ripping it away, like Homelander ripping his son away from Becca, which was heartbreaking. P.S. I still like the Deep, but he is hilarious, and he is Black Noir, as is Black Noir's weakness. And then Will Loomis wrote it and said, hey, spooky month means spooky movies, right? I would love to watch it weekly, or maybe just a couple of Twitch movie parties of horror movies this month. That's a fun idea. Well, maybe we can get that going. And then, of course, someone else wrote it. Dennis J wrote in non sequitur from either of those and said, in case Nick hasn't seen it yet, there's a new trailer for the U.S. release of Lupin III, the CGI movie, and it looks amazing. I watched it this morning. It looks dope.
I'm excited for that. That's really cool. Good to know. I do want to just also point out that we got that was our red wedding moment of
totally.
Oh my God, just everybody getting murked. I mean, such a moment of here's where we're gonna get them, and then that look on Butcher's face at the end. And some people in my chat were like, what do you think that look meant? Do you think it's a all hope is lost? And to me, it's like, no, this is Butcher saying like, all right, I'll fucking do it myself. Like, this is the Thanos putting on the glove moment, or the gauntlet moment. I think it's like Butcher saying, all right, we couldn't do it the right way, so now we're gonna do it my way. And I like, it's so exciting.
Fuck yeah, Andy, I just got chills from that.
It's so sick, dude.
Well, we'll have to see next week, ladies and gentlemen. Join us for the season finale of The Boys. Next week, we'll be back on Friday with this same crew. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, if you are listening to this on podcast services, make sure you tell a friend, give us a little high rating there, and share this bad boy. And then, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know what you think about the shocking assault on Rick Moranis, and whether or not we should all go to the store right now, buy Kind of Funny t-shirts, and then just roam the streets of New York just looking for Starbucks. Until next week, I've been Nick. That's been Andy. That's been Tim. And he's been Barrett. And we'll see you online.